Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special episode of the Friggin Nerds Podcast. I'm your host, Mario Lima, joined by Vengeance himself, the Dark Knight of Wizarding News, your boy, James.
Yo. Vengeance himself is here. What's good, everybody?
What is happening?
Yo. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's just like, so for those that's listening in, it is just me and James today. We have taken over the channel and we're finally, we don't have to hide anymore. We can be our DC fanboys.
Just open it up. It's going down. We are getting sweaty talking about this movie that is called The Batman. And oh my gosh. Mario, first thoughts, man. First thoughts.
Oh, man. So going into this, because I know you kind of put your disclaimer out in like our Friggin Nerds chat about like, just so you guys know, this movie's long. This movie is very dark. Some people are saying it's very boring. And I said, brother, you don't got to worry about me. I'm going to love this movie. You could put Batman in anything and I'll watch it. So going in, I went in with thinking that in the back of my head, but I'm like, let's go. I went in, I was a little disappointed, but also kind of happy. Not a full theater. I counted 11 heads.
What?
11 heads.
What? Oh, I remember you sent that picture. I was like, what is happening here?
Yeah, like
that was on a Thursday?
That was the night it opened.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm wondering,
I forgot about that.
Like, I'm wondering if it was just a theater, because I remember like trying to grab tickets earlier in the day. And there was one spot I was going to go to. It was like a new like Apple theater they opened. And I was like, oh, it seems like the seats that were available were kind of close to the screen. I like to be in the middle. I'm like right in the middle. So I was like, okay, we'll try another theater, see what's up. The showcase near me. Like I think they're kind of going down in business. Like it's an older theater. So I wonder if that was the issue. But it's kind of weird because it was
that is very weird.
It's like because Spider-Man, no matter where you went, I went and saw it a couple times. It was packed every time. So I was a little disappointed with that, but I feel like that's a good thing because I do want it to be a little more quiet, and I really want to
no distractions. Yeah,
take it in, enjoy it. So it was. I thought it was still a good experience. I loved it. Like we'll get into it more later on the show. A little long, but I just thought it was like a really good, kind of a fresh take on the Batman, where
which has had like 4 to 8 iterations already, and it's still fresh.
Yeah, so much Batman, but like it doesn't get tired, like because some of it gets tired. Like some people like we did have that kind of Batman lull where it's like after the Dark Knight, years, and then a lot of animated things were coming out, and we're kind of like video games. We're kind of like, all right, let's slow down on Batman. There's other DC characters we can go visit. You know what I mean? But this got me hyped for Batman again. Like this felt like going to see Batman Begins for the first time again. Like going to see Dark Knight for the first time again. Like just it was so exciting. Like the opening credits, like I'm like, let's go, man. We're going back to Gotham and we're going on a Batman adventure. Like what is there to say? But let's hear your thoughts, man. I know 3 times, man. This man dedicated 9 hours of his life he'll never get back with the Batman. What were your thoughts?
Man, so like you going in, I had high hopes. The trailers were amazing. When I saw the cast, I was like, oh my gosh. I was not one of those Twilight cats making fun of the Pattinson casting, because I've watched some of his other work, and not talking about his work with Christopher Nolan, some of his older stuff, particularly like Lighthouse, for example, his grittier stuff. Yeah. So I was excited, and I was worried I was setting myself up for failure because I'm just like, especially when you see the cast, the directing, and just what the trailers have done, I'm just like, you know what? I don't care. I'm sold. And I went in, I sat down, I went to the fan viewing. I had my comic book, my popcorn, my drink, and I'm squished because our theater was packed. Like it was hot in there. It was so many people in there. So, and the fan event was, you just had like different images of promotional images with a countdown in the top right with Riddler's handwriting, everything. Pretty cool. And there was no trailers. As soon as it went dark, we got right into the movie.
Ooh.
Yeah, nothing. It's just boom. No AMC stuff because I saw it in IMAX. It went right into the movie. And I didn't get hyped until the narration started. Because like the first scene, you already know, like, you know, Riddler is spying down, looking down at his victim that's going to be the mayoral candidate. And that was some of the freakiest stuff. But I didn't get out of my seat. And like, I usually watch like this, popcorn. And if I'm serious, if I'm getting into it, I'll put the popcorn between my legs, my drink to the side. I'm like this for like 2 hours. I didn't get like that until the narration started, which is like the first 15, 20 minutes, maybe even less. And I'm just like, this is the comic book. Because that narration is the thought bubbles you read in the comic books. And him talking about his city, him talking about how his approach to the villains. Like, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, we're here. Like I literally screamed that. We're here. We here. We here. And ever since from that moment to the end, I was in like this, just engulfed. It was amazing. It was an experience. Everything from the acting to the cinematography, to the tone, to the music. I mean, the sound design, everything was an experience. And every aspect, every minute was not an accident. It was all purposeful. And I was engulfed in this movie that Matt Reeves put together. And oh my gosh, this was a Batman movie. And it was better than what I thought. I thought I had my high expectations going in and it exceeded those. Like, man, so good.
Oh yeah. Like you talk about that beginning, like just that they just drop in front of you, the Batman.
Yes.
And
it reminded me of the Joker. It reminded me of the Joker text.
Yeah. Just
like the first one was Joaquin. Yep.
Yeah, just drop this in. And I'm like, and I was nervous at first because I'm like, when I see that house, I'm like, don't show me the Waynes again, man. I don't want to see the Waynes. If that's little Bruce again, man, I'm like, I'm gonna hit the toilet. Like, what the hell? But
yes.
But yeah, just and getting that vibe of the Riddler in the dark, like that. I was like, oh, this is gonna be like a horror flick. This is like, that's just scary.
Yo, you see the Riddler's eyes, like the mayoral candidate is moving to the side after watching TV, and it flickers, and you just see the reflection on his glasses, and he's just standing there, and that's all you see. And then he's like following him, going back and forth. I was like this. That's why I didn't go into my seat until like after that.
I was doing that too. I was kind of like, at my popcorn, I was kind of like, okay, man, you know, it's like, I was a little scared. I was like,
yes, but good gracious, like all the comparisons with Seven, David Fincher's movies, all of those comparisons were spot on. Like, thriller. It was a thriller. Like I think I was talking to you guys earlier last Tuesday during the podcast. I was like, it felt like a great movie, a thriller movie with Batman. It didn't feel like just the Batman movie. It also feels like this could happen with any. You can take out Batman and put Brad Pitt in, like from Seven. You can take out Batman and put Ben Affleck in the other movie he did. Like it, man, yeah. That first scene, it set the tone. It set the tone with the Riddler and everything. his breathing, like
creepy as hell. Like you think of the Riddler, and it's like I always go back to Jim Carrey. You know what I mean? And like this was a new thing, you know. And, but let's talk about that, man. The cast.
Yeah.
What a amazing cast. You know, Pattinson killed it, but like before we get into him, let's talk about some of the support. Zoe Kravitz. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't sure how like Zoe's great.
I wasn't worried. But I was worried. I wasn't worried. I was worried. Yeah. She's just her off-screen persona just kind of fit for Selena Kyle / Catwoman to me and everything. So and plus she has like so much to look like up to that I was like, okay, she's going to do right. And plus with Matt Reeves' direction, I wasn't worried. I could understand the hesitation. I wasn't worried at all with Selena Kyle. She killed it. Yeah, everybody killed it. Like, what did you think?
Yeah, I thought, she was fantastic. Like, I'm almost like, I want a Catwoman movie with her, man. Like,
yes,
like, oh my God, just the way, because I was telling you before we started, I've been in a Batman kick, so I watched the whole Nolan trilogy, and you got to Dark Knight Rises, and you got to your Selena Kyle in there, and it's just like that didn't feel like Catwoman to me.
No,
this is like. Since the video game, like this is like the most Catwoman I've seen. It's like perfect. Like even like the apartment full of cats. It's like, man, this is like it was like an adult version of Batman Returns. It was like this is great, man. Like I couldn't believe it.
I have a thing for strays. Like let's go, man. Let's go.
Yeah, I love when Bat looks like. You have a lot of cats. It's just like, okay, man. That was the other thing. We had because I know we talked about very serious tone, but it had the comedy where it was classy.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, it had a couple of one-liners, a thumb drive gimmick. Like, that was funny.
It was dry. It was dry. It wasn't like set up. It wasn't like leading up to. It was just like delivery was dry, but it was funny.
Yeah.
And
one thing that really made me laugh out loud in the theaters, like me and my friend Alex were looking at each other, is some of the cops are hilarious in that movie. Just like
their reactions to him,
like the police captain when when like Gordon and Batman do like that gimmick where they push each other.
Yeah,
and say, I'm gonna leave. And like hearing him talk, he's like, "Are you kidding me, man? You work with the Batman? Are you serious? This is crazy." Like his voice, I couldn't get past his voice. Like every time, I'm like, "Please get him off screen." Like he's like, "Are you kidding me, Gordon? You work with the Batman now? This is crazy. He's a criminal. He's a vigilante." I just couldn't get by it.
I think in that same scene, the commissioner, before he gets whacked, he's like, "Bro, like, man, this must be your favorite holiday, like Halloween." Like talking to the Batman, I was like, "That's funny." Like he's like dead serious and like pissed off in the scene, but that is funny, But no, I laughed out loud with the thumb drive one, like thumb.
Yeah, it's just like, come on, so good. But let's talk about speaking of that scene, that relationship with Jim Gordon, man. Jeffrey Wright, man. Oh my God, like this is the one thing I loved about this movie is like, of course I love seeing Batman fight crime and like beat up bad guys, but like he's a detective before anything.
Yes.
Seeing him like walk in with the rest of GCPD. And like they're like, we got to solve this crime. Like, why is he here? And he's like looking at clues and stuff. That's Batman.
Yes. And like, you have like 4, 5, 6, 8 different iterations of the Batman and Jim Gordon. And this felt so new. They were leaning on each other, both of them. Usually Jim Gordon is leaning heavily on the Batman in a lot of iterations, but the Pattinson's Batman is leaning hard on Gordon too, just to get access to the scenes, just to get help figure things out by himself. Because sometimes Alfred might not be able to help him. So he felt like he was the only one he could talk to. And you felt that even more at the end when you start figuring out everybody is corrupt, everybody within the GCPD. And so just seeing them like, meeting each other at the back signal, going to the crime scene, Jim having his back, and like Jeffrey Wright's delivery with everything. He always had, because I remember him from the Batman, James Bond films with Daniel Craig. And he always had that like tilt in his head when he'd talk and stuff sometimes. But like, it was, you can tell it's his version, not him trying to do Gary Oldman or some of the other ones. It was Jeffrey Wright's Gordon. And so I loved seeing like that inexperience from both Batman and Jim Gordon, and Jeffrey Wright's delivery with that. And I mean, it was refreshing. Again, it felt like the comic books, them just going to the crime scene, talking to each other. What do you think? How do you feel? Okay, can you do this? Don't trust this guy. He might do this. Like, look out. Like, Batman, you're better than this. You're supposed to be, this type of guy, for us. And like I was utterly shocked by just the nuances and the newness of this relationship that I've seen so many times with this character.
Yeah, he's always the guy that like sits by the bat signal. He's like, yes, we see him like he's like, all right, here's our mission, Batman. Freaking Two-Face is robbing the local bank, and like that's the only time we see Gordon. But like this one, it's like it was a buddy cop movie.
Yes,
yes, always.
This could have been Lethal Weapon. Like,
it was like Lethal Weapon.
Like seriously,
seeing them together was like fantastic. Like I want to see more of that. Like we'll talk about that later. The future of the Batman. But like, he was one, like, like I said, Pattinson was great, but man, it's like he stole the show. Mm-hmm. And we could talk about Pattinson, man. How do we feel about the new Batman?
Gosh, there's so much. I like how tall he looked, because I always go back to the comics and aesthetics. That's why Ben Affleck is like my definitive just Batman, because of the look. Ben Affleck's like 6'3", 6'4", like huge. He's a tall dude. So just imagine that type of guy walking through the shadows, like coming out. Like, I ain't trying to mess with that. So I loved this version of Batman, how long he was, but also how intimidating he was without saying a word. And that was all Pattinson. Yes, it was Matt Reeves directing and script writing with his other writers, but just to be able to portray that without saying a word, that intimidation, like he comes in, he's like, who are you supposed to be? Starts beating up crap cats and just says one word, I'm vengeance. And that's the only word in that entire scene. He beats everybody else up again, knocks him out. One dude runs away. The other guy he saves is scared to death of him. And he just looks up, sees the bat signal, and you just see his eyes. And just the amount of motion and gravitas he carried without saying a word as the Batman, you have to give so much credit to Pattinson's acting to that. Because that is very hard to do. It's hard to deliver lines, but it's hard to not deliver lines and still get across the emotion conveyed in the script. And that is exactly what he did throughout the entire movie, because he was Batman in 90% of this movie, and he did not talk that much at all. And you still got across what he was dealing with, what he felt. It was amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Yeah, because you got to think, like, when you're playing this character, most of the time you're acting with your eyes and your jawline. Like,
yes,
you have a mask on, you have like all this armor on, all this rubber.
Yes.
So like to be able to like show any kind of emotion is like a challenge. So like you said, like little to no words, and you just felt everything. And when he got like dramatic and like had to like yell and stuff, like you felt that too.
Mm-hmm.
Because because I have to think like the people that are complaining about this movie are complaining for the wrong reasons. Like they're saying like, Pattinson's like the worst Batman I've ever seen, blah blah blah. Like he doesn't have a good Batman voice. It's what, because he's not like has marbles in his mouth like, I'm the Batman. I gotta save Gotham. It's like, no, it's like this. Like no one talks about freaking what's his name from the animated series?
Kevin Conroy.
Kevin Conroy. His Bruce Wayne and Batman sounded the same. It didn't matter. It's like Commissioner Gordon. Like that was it. It's like people are like. I think people who are listening to this right now, if you haven't seen it already, I mean, you guys are getting spoiled. But if you guys saw it and you weren't crazy about it, you need to go back and watch it. Like it's because comparing it to other Batman movies is not fair. It's just you got to kind of get away from like we live in this time where like we had all the Spider-Men together in one movie, so everyone's like got to compare like the past, like Toby. I mean, I could see Pattinson's going to be the new Andrew Garfield. People are going to say he's bad right now, and back then, I always loved him.
Yeah, exactly.
Like no, like you didn't pay your ticket. You wait till it came out on HBO Max. You lazy. But and see, I've been saying that it's like I understand we have like this whole nostalgia thing and we want to go back to the old days, but it's like we just talked about James Bond. It's everybody has their version of the character. Like this to me was the equivalent of Daniel Craig being Bond, where it's like it's a new fresh take. It was a set thing because spoilers if you guys didn't watch No Time to Die, James Bond dies in that movie, so that ends that saga. And so I'm like, so let that exist, and then we'll go back
as its own thing
and do another James Bond. And same thing with the Batman. Like we have so much Batman action coming up soon with we were talking about on the podcast with Flash coming out. Keaton's coming back. Like you guys should be happy. You guys are getting Keaton. Like leave Pattinson alone, man. You guys are getting your old Batman. Like you guys complain about it. We want old Batman. It's like, geez, like I don't know what the hell you guys want from us. But yeah, I think as its own movie, you really have to enjoy it and like just understand, like for those who don't read the books, man, like this is really accurate stuff.
It's very accurate, very accurate. All the comparisons to the Long Halloween, Echo. I mean, even story wise, to me, like obviously Long Halloween, but just the Court of Owls and just the unraveling of what the Riddler is trying to do. The war between Riddler and Joker which was in I think it's in DC Rebirth. Like it's straight from the comics because this Batman is the most detective Batman we have ever seen on screen. He's not just sitting in front of a computer and letting the computer tell him what it is. Like I talked about Batman and Pattinson and how he doesn't say a word. His first time on the crime scene, he doesn't really say a word until he solves the riddle. He's going in there. You're like, yo, are we going to let him in? And Jim's like, yo, let him through. And he just looks at the police officer and he just walks, shows in, you hear his footsteps, you zoom in on his footsteps and you just see him looking around while Jim Gordon is talking, getting the evidence and stuff. He walks up, a funny scene with the camera person, with the forensics guy, just like, excuse me, and he just backs up and stuff, but he doesn't say a word. He's just surveying, and you don't find out why he's looking around until he gets back to the Batcave where he has the lenses in his eyes. He puts it down and replays everything, and then another narration happens, which is another thought bubble from the comics, breaking down his journal, the Gotham Project, like all of it. Like he's piecing stuff together, and it's just like, this is the Batman if Jeff Loeb wrote it, who was the writer for A Long Halloween. If Jim Lee penciled it, like this, his portrayal with everything, without saying a word, was amazing. So you have your Batman, like Mario was saying, with Keaton, with Tim Burton's vision. You have it even with Joel Schumacher's vision, and even with freaking Christopher Nolan's version, and my boy Zack Snyder's version, who didn't get a full Batman movie, but he got introduced. But this is his own thing, and man, I appreciate it even more because of its nuances and the freshness it brought, because we have not seen a Batman like this ever in live action, ever. The closest thing maybe is the Masters of Phantasm, which a lot of people don't even know about. So, yeah.
Yeah, unreal. But moving along from the heroes, we got to talk about the villains. Oh my God. Like one of the funniest things coming out of this movie was, for those who know, my brother Alex, my future brother-in-law, who I went to go see this movie with, he does not do trailers for things he cares about. Like we actually watched the Fantastic Beasts trailer in the theater when we saw Batman, and he watches it. He doesn't care about Harry Potter, so he's like, he watched that. But if Doctor Strange came up, he put his head down. He blocks his ears out. He doesn't want to hear anything. So he didn't know much about the Batman. He was like, yeah, it's going to be Robert Pattinson. That's fine. And he's like, I think the Riddler's in it. And he didn't know anything about it. He likes to go. He likes to go in fresh.
How did he avoid that? That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know how he does it. I ask him all the time, like this. No, like you didn't know about Doc Ock and Spider-Man: No Way Home. Like, come on.
Yeah.
But so credits start rolling. He looks at me. He's like, Colin Farrell was in that movie? Yeah. And I was like, he was the Penguin. He's like, no, he was not. Was he really? And I'm like, he was the Penguin, bro.
Killed it.
The makeup. I heard a story that apparently while shooting, he went to a Starbucks with the makeup on.
Oh yeah, nobody
recognized him. So we got to talk about Penguin, man. Some people think maybe not necessary, but very necessary.
Yeah.
Cool to see. Like there's a more realistic Penguin. He's not in the sewer with like a henchman, like with all the penguins and
Tim Burton. Yeah, that's just like, Tim Burton's head.
We're not there. Like, I want to know who my family is. Like, we're not going that route. He's a mobster. He's like a New York accent. Let's talk about Penguin, man. What'd you think about Penguin?
I'm agreeing with Spooky in the chat. He was hilarious. He was hilarious. But what stood out was, I think it was like he was the opposite of Pattinson. Pattinson had the gravitas without saying anything. Penguin had the gravitas with each word he said. And what I mean by gravitas is he stole every scene he was in. Do not get it twisted. He was this big surprise for me. And he wasn't even in the movie that much. Like, I'm like, this, if you guys know Colin Farrell, dude has a heavy Irish accent. Heavy with the capital H and Y. And like, you couldn't tell. You could not tell. And he literally had the like Jersey accent with the like mob boss mentality. And like, I mean, he sold being a character in the underworld in Gotham, but higher up. And like, I cannot say enough about every scene he was in. Just like, man, yo, take it easy. Like, like that's one of the first things he says in the movie. And I'm just like, yo, you looking for me? Like, yeah, I'm just like, and then the interrogation scene.
Oh,
like,
yeah. When they show him the picture, like, hey.
Like, he stole and I mean, if people were like worried about it being too dark, he was the funny aspect of it. Like, everybody has funny moments, but his was more throughout the movie than anybody else's. But I mean, just his portrayal alone, I see why he got greenlit for a HBO TV show. Like, I see why. He killed it. I mean, he was Penguin. He was so good alongside John Turturro, which, dude, I was surprised.
Where did he come from?
Yes, as Falcone. Like, oh my gosh.
That first scene, like, you see it from Catwoman's eyes of like him focusing in, like, how you doing, sweetie? And I'm like, first I'm like, who is that? And then I look, I look closer and I hear him talking. I'm like, is that the freaking butler for Mr. Deeds, bro? Like that Totoro, bro? What's he doing here?
From Transformers?
From Transformers? From the Zohan? Like, what is this dude doing here? Like,
but everybody forgets like his old stuff. Like, I was like, okay, yeah, he was molded for this. He was perfect for this. And just, I mean, he carried himself just like, I mean, he was better than, because I think we had a Falcone in Carmine Falcone in The Dark Knight, and maybe even a reference in the Tim Burton version. And maybe even Master Phantasm. So like Falcone has always been like a huge thing, Carmine. But good Lord, him and Penguin together, but him by himself. I mean, he was scary. He was like, I'm just like, he's going to pop off at any second. But he had the calmness where it's just like, you don't see it until like, you know, his background. And then knowing his background, he could just flip the switch on you like that. Like everybody's presence in the movie, every scene was not wasted with either of this cast. And we haven't even gotten to your boy, the Riddler. Good gracious.
Oh man, the Riddler. Paul Dano, I was so, because like seeing him in interviews, man, like, you know, he's not scary at all. Like he's just like he's like the sweetest guy. Yeah. And I'm like, and it's seeing his performance, man. Like we talked about that first scene in the dark room, and it's like, man, like I would never want to be in the room with this guy. Like you're just so creepy, and just and then. From there and into his unmasking, him in the diner, like he because like Joker, like Heath Ledger Joker, psychotic, but this like different level of psychotic, like just like unhinged, crazy.
I was okay. I think I might have told you guys. Paul Dano's Riddler, he was scarier without the mask. Because the first time you see him without it, he's smiling. He gets this long drawn smirk coming up, especially when he sees Batman coming to the window. And I'm just like, this dude looks normal as crap. Like, and he's doing all of this, planning all of this. And he's just like, that freaked me out more so than any of the other stuff he did as the Riddler. Not even because it was cool because in all three viewings, everybody was like, yo, like, ew, like it was just a scared factor that was more so reacted. And that scene when his face was revealed than it was, again, with the Riddler throughout the entire scenes leading up to that. He was creepy. I don't know what, man. Yeah, so creepy.
I couldn't believe it. Like that. The initial, the funeral scene of him on the cell phone with the bomb with the DA, like that was a really cool moment. Like
he felt like Riddler there.
Like that was like that's prime Riddler, man. Like riddle me this, Batman. It's perfect. But seeing him behind the glass in the jail cell, talking to Batman, and like when you think you're like, he knows he's Bruce Wayne.
Yes,
like he knows
Wayne.
But then and then it's like he's like, no, I don't know that Bruce Wayne's Batman. And like you see Batman like, oh, Jesus Christ, thank God. Like, oh my God, like that. I was stressed out for him.
Like I didn't know. I was like, does he know? Does he not know? Like, he's like, what is happening? I was so confused. I was like, just like, what? And the thing is, I think like I want to just like Heath Ledger's Joker. It was unexpected because a lot of people are like, yo, that is the villain portrayal. Like that is one of the best villain performances in any live action one. Like a lot of people say, like Heath Ledger's Joker. But the thing is, that's not the comic accurate Joker though. Like the Agent of Chaos, like that's really not the same one we kind of have come to know in the comics. And the same can be said with this version of the Riddler. He's not really like that much of a serial killer. He's more so, he doesn't really like to get his hands dirty. He prefers Batman to figure it out before he actually does his killings and stuff. But just the portrayal, again, by Heath Ledger with his Joker and now Paul Dano with this Riddler, you're just like, I never thought I'd see a portrayal of this character before this. And I never knew I needed it until this movie. And you just appreciate the character even more by Paul Dano's portrayal of this cat, who is so much reminiscent of the Zodiac Killer in real life, with the ciphers and like everything, the journal. I mean, there were so many comparisons. I saw the New Rockstars kind of do a breakdown of this movie, and they showed like where Matt Reeves got his inspiration from the Zodiac Killer, from the costume to the notes, to even to the cards that he was really were sending to the Batman. So like this portrayal was just, again, a fresh take on a character that we've known for over like 40 years, which was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, it was close, man. I know we kind of talked about predictions. We were so close,
right
to Hush.
Right,
they teased it when you see it Hush on the wall there. I stood up. I was like, this is it. This is happening. And because there was like that, they were talking about it, like, because like the reporter had like the same last name or whatever. So like so it's like we're right there. We can still do it. We can still do it. There is time. Same thing with like, we could do Two-Face. We need a new district attorney. So we get Two-Face in, like, we already got teased of the Joker. So we're gonna get more coming up. But like but let's transition onto the more of the story aspect. Just oh my god, just so many kind of like unexpected twists and turns here and there. Like what'd you think overall of like the story?
I loved how, again, like each scene was on purpose, and it added to the storytelling of what the Riddler was trying to do. Because you started with the Riddler and him looking down, and like you see, he sets this whole thing up. Everything happens in this movie is a reaction to what the Riddler is setting up, even to the end when like everything is flooded. That's because the Riddler did it. So what was cool is he was in control of this entire movie, and we're figuring it out with Batman. And it was such good storytelling. And then interweaving, like you see the killer, then you bring in Jordan and the Batman. Then because of those two, it leads you to Penguin, which leads you to Catwoman, which leads you to Falcone, which is tied to Catwoman. So it's like a delicate dance of interweaving characters and storylines that somehow seemingly is connected to the final conclusion, which is Riddler winning, essentially, which is a new thing. But then you still show the characters, because now there's an open spot for the Penguin. He's like, yo, there's a vacancy. I can take over now. Your boy is dead. Riddler's in jail. There's a power grab now. Selina's had her story arc. She left. Batman's has a story arc. Like, everybody's interwoven until they branch out again at the end. So it's a nice coming together and branching out, and just everybody comes out different because of this one thread that the Riddler started, and just following it cinematically, sound design, acting wise, was so much fun. Great storytelling.
Yeah, I thought so too. Just like, again, with along with the performances from all the cast, it's like it just helped bring it together. And again, just like, because like this is Batman's year 2, it's
exactly.
Like,
he's still fresh.
Yeah, still fresh, like still kind of figuring out things, but still kicking ass. He's still destroying people. But like, yeah, but story wise, I like definitely some more realistic views on some things. The fact that Riddler is like live streaming this.
I know that blew my mind.
He's like, thanks for the 100 bits, but anyways, let's get some. We need some more duct tape for this. We should buy some more machine guns. Like this guy.
Thanks for the suggestions.
Yeah. I was laughing like when they show like the chat logs and stuff. Like I was like, I made like a joke. I'm like, this is like watching a friggin' nerd stream. Like seriously, this is crazy. Seriously. But yeah, I think that was a great aspect, and just again, like very, very detective oriented. Like just like we're going to the next place, we got to figure out this. Like the whole thing of like figuring out like what else has wings. A penguin. Yeah. Let's go find a penguin. And
he gets it wrong. He gets it wrong.
And they're like,
I love that.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, Falcon. A Falcon has one. It's Falcone.
Falcone, yeah.
And like, but yeah, super interesting. Like how they kind of messed your mind a little bit there. And like we'll kind of get into like some of like the negatives. But like sure. I will say for sure. With the length of the movie, like I don't mind a 3-hour movie, but like, but when it comes to like, with like, I felt like a lot of false endings at the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When Batman's on his back and Selina's over him and saying like, it's all over, you can rest. It's like, but it's not. The water's coming in. It's like we're still going. It's like, man. Yeah. So, and like same thing when he's in in jail, and he kind of like, because it was very reminiscent of Dark Knight again, where it's like when Joker's in jail, you're like, oh, we caught him already.
Yeah.
What's he up to? And then he's like, it's all a part of the plan, and he escaped. So like we kind of saw that coming. Like there's something happening with this guy. You don't go to a diner and order a piece of pie for nothing. Like this,
he wants to get thrown in the arc.
Yeah. So I thought crazy, super creepy, crazy.
And they did a great job. If like still focusing on the story wise, they did a great job with the world building as well. Because again, like Gotham was its own character. Like just the little stuff of the villains looking into the shadows, not knowing if Batman's there or not, So you're just building this world through the story that I can't wait to explore, honestly. And I mean, just the little stuff, like even the colors with the storytelling, like, yes, heavy reds and heavy blacks and stuff for a reason. But I mean, even in the club scenes, like the changing with the blues, and I mean, it's the world building. I cannot wait to go back to this world because of the storytelling Matt Reeves did with every aspect of this movie, man. And like I know like it's kind of long and it kind of felt like it would end, but each scene, I think except for one scene, each scene felt like it was on purpose for the character and the story overall, but more so for the character, which I was okay with, because I could do without like maybe one or two scenes max. But I understand why it was there. And that because of that, especially after 3 viewings, I was like, okay, it was done on purpose. There was a reason why. And they like finding out afterwards, like they cut a couple of scenes. I was like, this could have been a Zack Snyder 4-hour like cut, like honestly. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah, some cuts for sure. But yeah, again, like going back to like Gotham City, one of the best looking Gothams I've seen. And we talk about Matt Reeves, a lot of the complaints people had, dark film, but like, we also talked about like how Matt Reeves wanted the projectors like to be calibrated a certain way to see it, because watching this movie, like I'm sitting there and it's bothering me. I'm like, what about this feels different? I've seen over 1 billion movies in theaters, and I'm like, this feels so different for some reason. And then reading, like, because he put out a statement which I shared somewhere, that he sent these letters out to set up the projector a certain way, and it made sense because you think about it, everything's very dark. You feel like you're in Gotham. It's very dark, and like whenever a car turned on and the headlights would hit you, I was like this. I was like, whoa, my goodness! Like,
the bat signal.
Yeah, like it's just super dynamic. I felt like I could like reach out. If I saw it as in 3D, I felt like I would have been there. I was like, man.
You felt like Bruce Wayne, because there was little stuff where it was so bright. He would wear the sunglasses during the day because his eyes was more acclimated to being out there at night. So like, I mean, you felt that like it was all on purpose. It was like, yeah. It Goth, man,
so good.
So good.
Let's talk about some costume design. Some of the one thing everyone looks at when you look at a Batman film, you gotta look at the bat suit. I personally like the bat suit. I thought it was a cool suit. I like the batarang in the chest. I think that's a cool touch. But you could tell it's kind of newish. He's still kind of trying out new stuff. Like we'll see if he comes back, we'll have like a newer looking suit and all that. You know, I love the wingsuit. I love how he took a bump on the bridge. Like that was like Spider-Man 2 when he fell in the alleyway. Like right back. I was shocked at that. But what do you think about costume design, man? What are some things that stood out to you?
Oh man, the colors for one, for the costume design, because even Riddler's green wasn't green. It was like a darker jungle green, honestly, with like a little bit of olive. Yeah, for sure. And like even everybody's costume was functionable. That's what it is. That's it. The functionality of everything. I said it earlier. Ben Affleck's Batman is like my favorite looking one, but dude could not. Yes, by far, like the most like Jim Lee's drawing, like All-Star Batman, like Hush Batman. That was even obviously the Dark Knight, but dude can't turn his head like at all. He can't turn his head. It's one, but this one you just appreciate the functionality. Like this was the first time they actually showed the black paint under it too. Like he was walking around in the first scene with it on, and then at the end when the third time he goes in the club scenes, he sneaks in, he has it on with him. Like everything just felt functionable with all their outfits, all the costumes, and added to the world building that Selena Kyle's Catwoman is not really established as Catwoman yet. Same with Batman. Even same with Penguin. And just like, yes, he looks the part in like outlandish clothes and stuff. But I mean, everything had a purpose, and the little details, especially with the Riddler. I think Paul Dano was just talking about like how he wanted to like put a certain wrapping over him so he wouldn't leave any hairs out and stuff as a serial killer, so nobody could track him and stuff. The glasses over the costume because he still needed to see. He didn't have prescription goggles and stuff. So the functionality of it, I think, just added to the world building, and that and the color kind of stood out to me costume wise.
Yeah, because I remember like first seeing that first initial poster of the Riddler and thinking like what is this? Like this is something I've never seen, because again, like we live in a world where a lot of superhero movies are being made now. You got to think about like a realistic look for a character. The Riddler's always has had like the big question mark on his chest and like kind of goofed. So I was like, it's
everywhere.
Yeah, so it's like interesting to see how they made him look in this. Like, it really added to it, because like again, made it extremely creepy. Like just like I could see them making a Calendar Man movie. Like they put Calendar Man in there and made him creepy. Like I would still go see that movie. It's like they can do so much with these characters. But it just
did. Joel was talking about utility belt. Did Batman have a utility belt?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Okay.
He had like the.
Well, that's where he got the adrenaline out of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we talk about that? By the way, that was Venom, right? That was
No.
come on,
no. Like, so I know a lot of people said that.
Look, it was green. Like, it was a green.
It was weird that it was that color. I will say that.
I think it was just like a nod for people,
maybe,
because like even like there's a scene when they're in the at the mansion, and you see Alfred like messing around with something, and you see the bust from the Adam West Batman, like the whatever it is. So like I think it was just like a little nod to like for the Batman fans who are like, oh wow, he just injected himself with some Bane gimmick there. Like what's going on there?
No, like I a lot of people. I think on my second view I went with my friend, and he had thought the same thing. And I was like, that just seemed like adrenaline to me. Like afterwards, because I mean, dude was about to pass out, and he just woke up and just like boom, like started wailing on the dude. So I didn't think Venom, but I understand it. I understand why.
Yeah, I saw the green go into him, and then I saw what he did after. I was kind of like, okay, all right. I see you guys. You know what I mean? It's just like I just thought that was really like a fun little nod.
It was.
There was a couple of fun little Easter eggs.
It was.
You had that. You had
his grappling gun.
Oh yeah,
his grappling gun was amazing. It reminded, because the animated series. I'm going to keep referencing the Massive Phantasm until most of you guys have seen this movie, but the animated series always used a grappling gun. And like you see it in the other movies also, but the retractable grappling gun aspect on his wrist guards and using it as like fighting instruments, you know, shooting it into a cat's leg, flipping them under, like, so they fall to the ground, diving off the rails at the end of the movie, swinging around. Like, I mean, everything. It just seemed functionable. His boots, they were heavy for a reason. They made sound. They were scary at night. All the stuff he has was to fit the persona that he's trying to put out there to those who might be scared of him, who he might want to fear him with his sound, with the boots, with his cape, with his ears. Like, we all knew that, but you didn't this was the first time, to me anyway, in a Batman film that the costume made sense to scare people. Because even in the Nolan trilogy, Batman Begins, he chose the bat because, you know, he was scared of the bat. So he's like, I'm going to make people scared of the thing I was scared of. But this costume didn't feel like it was scary. It felt like, okay, the cloth was good because he can glide, and the suit was good because it was form functioning and all this other stuff. This suit felt scary to me. This suit felt very scary. And again, it started with the sound of his boots and how heavy it was when he stepped in. And then, like, he's electrocuting cats with his gauntlets. Also, like, I mean, what you looking at, I was like, what that thing on your chest? Like, it's not easy to recognize it's a bat, but it is. It's a bat. And you just see this dude, and you just like, this dude is crazy. Like, this cat is crazy. So yeah, I think that's all due to the costume design with every aspect of the bat suit particularly, which I loved.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just like you don't want to mess with a dude like in a black mask and like looking like he's in SWAT gear, and it's like, what is this dude
boots
doing? You talk about that initial scene when he comes out of that tunnel, like almost like a Western. Almost had that kind of like little thing.
Great reference. Great reference. Yes.
Like good, the bad, and the ugly. This kind of like him step. You see the boots first. You see him kind of walk out and stare at everybody. I was waiting for like a tumbleweed to go by and like draw and like beat the crap out of these dudes.
It's about to go down.
Yeah, just scary dude. Just made it. Just the feel for it. But speaking of feel, we can't do a Batman review without talking about the score. The music in this was amazing. Like dropping the Nirvana track gave me goosebumps when I heard that initial. Because Nevermind is one of my favorite albums of all time, and hearing that guitar opening, I was like, I look at Alex. I'm like, he's like, what? Like, this is a Nirvana track. Like they're playing Nirvana in this. This is crazy. But that alone was great. But the score itself, I know we kind of talked about, had some kind of hints of like past movies. We kind of had the feeling of Dark Knight in there. Kind of had the feeling of like, I know someone said that they kind of got some feels from like the Keaton movies a little bit.
Danny Elfman's score.
Just interesting. I know you've been listening to that soundtrack on repeat, man. What are your thoughts on the music here?
Oh man, I'm gonna butcher the last name. It's like Michael Giacchino, who did the score. And I was looking at like some like interviews before the movie, and they did this backwards. Michael Giacchino did the score before they had filmed the movie.
Ooh.
Usually it's reversed. They do the movie, and then like, you know, they'll do the score, have like some scenes to kind of fit in with it and stuff. So Matt Reeves was saying that this was such a nice aspect because they could play it while they were shooting, which is something they really never done before with a film. You had the score, like, can you imagine having this score, which is haunting and uplifting and perfection in every aspect while you're doing scenes for the Batman, as the Batman, Selena Kyle's theme, Riddler's theme, the Batman's theme, like having this all played while you're shooting is amazing. So this score is right up there with the Danny Elfman's score, and even the versions, themes and stuff of the original Batman animated series. Like it's up there. It's up there, and it's continuous throughout. And what's so cool is you'll hear different versions of the score with different aspects of what scene you're looking at, particularly with Batman. I feel like I've heard like 3 or 4 versions of this specific Batman theme, which is like 6 minutes long, I believe. But each scene from the very beginning, when he's riding a motorcycle to the Batcave, to when he's at the very first time at the crime scene, to the end, which is more uplifting score version of it, to the Batmobile scene, like just each you have this core theme, and they just played with it a little bit. And the Nirvana aspect, which you talked about, I was like, why is Nirvana like playing? I was like, I didn't think it would like fit, because I heard you'll hear some Nirvana from the non-spoiler reviews I've watched. And I was like, I don't know. But Matt Reeves says he got his inspiration for Bruce Wayne, and then, of course, this Batman from Nirvana, Kurt Cobain, which is why you have that emo grunge style for Bruce Wayne, but also that grunge style for the Batman. And so Nirvana sprinkled through, because I loved it when you see that first trailer. The very first trailer had Nirvana in it. And I was just like, wait, what? And I loved it. So the way they added it here, I think just told a story that we weren't expecting. And man, again, I've been humming it ever since, every day.
Yes. I loved how they did the Riddler theme, man. Like that, like they did, like, because we had that like Ave Maria thing throughout, and you know, being a musician, I'm like listening to it, I'm like, oh, they changed the key of Ave Maria for the Riddler theme,
but to match his,
and it was like super creepy. And I was like, I'm sitting there like analyzing the soundtrack. I'm like, that's genius. Like, oh my god, like that just like added to that, like. Just, oh my god, just it was insane.
And it fits because you find out he was in the the chorus, as a kid. So you're thinking they're playing Ave Maria like at the very beginning. That's usually like a rich score, like people who have money and influence. But they're playing that for the Riddler, and it all again ties together at the end. He even starts humming it when he's talking to the Batman in Arkham. Like, I mean, again, everything is on purpose. Even the score, like everything is on purpose.
It's all a part of the plan. Man, with all this, man, a fantastic movie, but the one thing I'm so excited for is the future. Like I don't know, like there's so many different options. Like what's something you like? I have an idea of what I want to see. What are some things you want to see coming up?
I said it. I think I said it on one of the podcasts, and I'll say it again. I knew the corruption amongst the Gotham elite would be a theme, just based off of what the trailer teased and like the news headlines and the newspapers and stuff that were seen in the trailer with the Riddler on all the crime scenes. So I was like, all right, if they're going with this, the corrupt elite, you have to, Joel said it in the chat, you have to go with Court of Owls. You don't have to, but it just flows so well leading into the Court of Owls. Because you're like, okay, my dad, Thomas Wayne was like working with some cats who weren't, clean. Same with, Martha, and then finding out, the mayoral candidates, the commissioner, the police, other people, the higher ups, they were all dirty. And so it would be so cool to carry that thread line into the Court of Owls, which for those who have not read it, A, you need to read it, but B, Bruce Wayne is finding out some stuff, and he finds out that there's a talent, this dude, like a ninja, like who goes out and starts killing people. And you find out that there's another group of people, rich people, who've been controlling everything that has happened in Gotham for, I forgot how long. And they're called the Court of Owls, and they're all Gotham elite. And it's hinted that Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne might have been a part of it and might have had another child, which would be an amazing aspect to explore also with this version of Batman with Robert Pattinson. So, I mean, there's a lot that goes into the Court of Owls. And with the game coming out also, I think it would be a cool nod with it. I don't think they're going that route. I think they're going another route, but I think Court of Owls would be perfect.
My dream, I mean, I don't think it's a dream. I think they're going to do it. Like, with this, dipping into the Waynes, we find out that Martha was like involved with the Arkhams. So I think I could see them going into an Arkham Asylum story. We talk about how scary the Riddler was, how it had that horror aspect. I would love like this version of Batman stuck in Arkham Asylum for a night, dealing with all of his villains, like having like the shittiest night of his life, like what they did with the first game. Like him stuck in Arkham and like have it be like a horror movie. Like, oh, that would be insane. But I don't know how many villains we have, because we saw the Joker in prison. So is this someone that Batman has dealt with in year one? Like what other villains are out there? Like I said, we already got the Penguin. We got Catwoman. We got
Riddler.
Yeah, we got teasers of maybe Two-Face if they have a new DA.
Right.
So I think we still need to build on this. Like I don't know what their plans are as far as like a movie deal.
Yeah.
Like, but if they did like a good run of like, 3 movies, you could probably build something nice there.
Yeah.
But again,
I mean, it made it made 138.
Oh, is it up to 130 now? Last time I checked, it was like
it was 130. It was 138 as of yesterday. So that was like the overall weekend box office, and then worldwide it's like 240 something million the first weekend. So we're getting another one. And it has no competition for movies coming against it for the next couple of weeks. So I think they're definitely going to make another one. I have heard rumors. Well, I know Matt Reeves had talked about exploring possibly a Robin aspect. He said he's not against it. He spoke more about the aspect of a Mr. Freeze, which would be amazing. I like the idea of possibly a Killer Croc with all this water that's still in Gotham. Depending on how much time has passed between the first movie and the second movie. But I don't want Joker. I do not want Joker in the second movie. Save him for the end. Keep him in Arkham. There were actually a couple of the deleted scenes I mentioned earlier were actually with the Joker. And he was actually, Pattinson was talking to him, trying to get insight on what's going on. So it seemed as if, at least originally, Batman knew about this version of the Joker or whoever this cat is. Because it might not be fully Joker. I don't know, because you didn't see his face. So save the Joker for like the third movie or fourth movie. Give us some cats we haven't seen before, or explore the ones we have seen and do them differently, because I need some new cats, particularly Mr. Freeze, who's my like all-time favorite Batman villain.
Oh, I love Mr. Freeze. Like, you know, I mean, nothing tops Arnold. Nothing tops Arnold. But yeah, I would love a real serious Mr. Freeze like kind of story, because I think it's tough to like be really serious with Mr. Freeze.
No, it is. No, it's no. I mean, Mr. Freeze is a tragic story.
It is.
Just the one animated series like that. I forgot the name of it. Heart of Ice or whatever.
Yeah.
That is tragic. I know everybody thinks of Arnold Schwarzenegger's version, but like, I had saw some concept art from people who were like, if you want to keep it grounded, put him in a freaking astronaut or deep diving suit and keep everything, like, if you want to keep it like, you know, like realistic, you can do that and like show how tragic his backstory is and why he has to have that suit on the entire time. And again, it would go so well with Gotham being flooded anyway. Maybe the flooding messed with his wife, who was sick in the first place, and now he's going after everybody, Riddler, Batman, everybody in Gotham, because they messed up the thing with his wife, and he's trying to save him. Like, they could do so much with Mr. Freeze and Victor Freeze, which is his real name, and just explore that character. Just explore that. So I know everybody thinks automatically with the campy, and even his suit is not really ideal, but if they can make everything else seem like realistic and down to earth, then I trust Matt Reeves to do it with a character like Mr. Freeze or a Killer Croc or a Two-Face. So that's my thoughts on Freeze, because he's my favorite by far.
Yeah, he could be fun for sure. Yeah. It's like thinking about like ones we haven't seen in a long time. You know, even like, you know, Poison Ivy's interesting. You know, having a team up there, maybe. Having like that would be great. Having Hugo Strange, big one for me. I love Hugo Strange.
Yeah,
like if you, and I will gladly play Hugo Strange. Like I will put the gimmick on. I got the trench coat somewhere in the house. I will gladly, if you guys are watching this, I'm sure you are. I'll do an audition. But yeah, I would love to see that. So many different stories they could do. I know people were kind of talking about like they want to see. Like a Batman or Robin situation again.
No, leave it alone.
I don't want to see Robin, because everyone's already saying like, you know, the kid that was in the apartment.
Oh, is Titans.
Like, Oh yeah,
they were saying the dude who had the like half face.
He was right. Was he in Titans?
He's Robin, and he's I forgot what version of Robin, but he's in Titans.
Yeah,
as Robin in that. So leave it alone. Just stick with Pattinson. Just build that relationship with him and Alfred. Build that up. Let's get a real Bruce Wayne. You don't need to add more good guy characters. Build on the relationship between Batman and Gordon. Maybe Gordon's relationship with Batman has him lose his job or something, and Batman's trying to redeem it or whatever. Like, there's so much character growth that this version of Batman has to go through. You don't need another cat from the Batman family. Robin, whether it's, you can't do Damian because he's too young to have a kid. So Tim Drake or even Dick Grayson, leave it alone. Don't need a Barbara Gordon. You don't need anybody. Just stick with Batman and Alfred. But I see why people would like to see it, because we really haven't seen a good live action Robin, really. Like, I enjoyed Keith, O'Donnell? I forgot his first name, from Batman Forever. I enjoyed seeing that, but that's not Robin. That's not Robin. I'm sorry. That's not Robin. That's not Dick Grayson.
Yeah. So I mean, and there's so many other like stories there you can get through animated stuff. They had like the Red Hood story, which is interesting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with that. Have it like let's not make the mistake we made with Spider-Man, where it's like we had to like rush to get a proper Spider-Man in the MCU.
Right.
Where like we want to, let's build this Batman, because again, like I like that we're doing this now with with the Flash coming out, Keaton's coming back, we have other Batman to worry about, and have this one be its own thing. Like DC has to stop trying to be like Marvel and like connect everything. It's like make their own thing, and like you're good, you're golden.
And one of the execs at WB did say that they weren't going to focus on having a connected universe. They were just going to focus on serious and solo films with their characters. I know they'll have maybe a little bit connection with like Black Adam and like Shazam, and that's obvious because those two go together. But I'm like, yo, keep it separate. I think Flashpoint is going to reset a lot of stuff and allow them to do their own thing. And so I think after the Joker, which made $1 billion, after this movie, which is like going to be close to that, I just think this is the future of the DC, like not even universe, just of DC comic book characters. Don't worry about connecting stuff. Just tell a great story. Let your directors and creators explore, because I think the old WB execs would not have greenlit this film. It's just too different. It's too different. I'm surprised he even got the PG-13 rating, honestly. And because they were towing that line very close,
really
very close. Like maybe a F-bomb here or there, some blood, and we could have been R. So they just need to do solo films. Don't worry about connecting it. Keep it serious. And just let the money come in. There's too many stories, good stories anyway in the comics. Just tell those stories and have some fun with it. And man, Joker and Batman, that's the standard now. Joker and the Batman, that is the standard for WB.
That's it. Man, we could talk about this forever. But I think before we go, I think we gotta give it the friggin' nerd rating. We'll let you start. What's your out of 10 nerdies? What are you giving the Batman?
10 nerdies. 10 nerdies. 10 out of 10
nerdies.
Yeah, 10 out of 10.
See,
it wasn't anything bad to me.
I had to sit back and really think about it. Where it's like I don't know if I can give it a 10. I really want to. Mm-hmm. It's just like we talked about a little bit earlier. Just like just that pacing at the end really kind of threw me off. Where you're getting the kind of false ending there, where you think things are over, but something else happens. I feel like it could have been a lot of cuts there.
Yeah.
It didn't really hurt the film overall. I still love the film, and it's tough. I was gonna go a little lower, but I think I'm gonna raise it up a little bit. I'm gonna go 9 out of 10.
Wow.
I'm gonna stay 9 out of 10. Which is like, it's good. It's not perfect to me, but it's amazing. It's just like, when it comes to Batman, I love Batman. I'm very serious about Batman. Like, he was like the Dark Knight Returns is my Bible, and I worship Batman. Like, it's just like goes hand in hand. So but
wait, question. Okay, what did you rate No Way Home?
Did I give that? I think I gave that one a 9 as well. I forget.
Okay,
I gotta go back. Someone correct me. I'm sure somebody in the chat's gonna be like, "No, you gave it a 10." I think I might have gave that one a 9 as well. Who knows? Maybe I went lower, but because with that one, that was the one where I was like the performances kind of hurt that there with the villains. Like like Sandman and stuff like that didn't feel right to me. I'm like, that's not the Sandman I saw back in the early 2000s or whatever. But yeah, I think with the Batman, sticking it at the 9 there. I don't want to go full IGN 10 out of 10. They give everybody 10s. It's like you gotta kind of look at it and be like,
sipping the Kool-Aid. I'm
I'm so happy. Like, of all people besides you and my brother Kyle, who hadn't seen it yet, huge Batman fans, and like, I want people to enjoy this. Like, that's the thing. Like, people who are listening to this today, like, if you haven't seen it, again, we spoiled the movie for you. Sorry. But if you weren't sure about the film, go see it again. And again, it's coming out in April on HBO, so you can even see April it at 15th, home.
Yeah.
So it's like something to check out at home, and like, but the experience in theaters is so special.
Yes. IMAX. Yes. If you can, do IMAX if you can, but seeing it in the theater, agreed, Mario.
Yeah,
it's special.
Yeah, because like I said, I went to a regular theater, and like it looked really good. I can only imagine an IMAX. Yeah, but like I said, with the lighting and everything, it's like, oh my god, this is like insane. And I cannot wait to see more.
All right,
I think
we got our ratings. Where does it rank?
Ooh.
Where does it rank? I want you to go first.
So we're ranking just live action.
No, we can add the cinematic. If it was in a theater, if it premiered in a theater, it counts. So Massive Phantasm counts.
I was gonna say,
even the Killing Joke was in the theater too. That can count as well.
Oh man, I made it a little harder for me now, because damn, if we're putting Phantasm in there,
that's what I'm saying.
Man, let me see.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, if you want to make it easier for you, we can do just live action.
Do live action.
Phantasm to me is the best Batman movie.
It's really good.
It's perfect.
It's really good.
It's perfect to me. But we could just do live action.
Okay, so for me, it's so tough. It's so tough.
It is. It is
because of all the
iterations,
different iterations,
the aspects. Yeah,
because that's the thing. It's like, it's so hard to
if it was like the same movie, if all of them were like the same movies, it'd be easy to compare, obviously.
Right.
But all of them are not the same type of movie. So it's going to boil down to your preference at the end of the day as well. But
all right,
you make the big bucks, Mario.
All right. I think I'm going to hit him with this. I think I'll give Batman 89 the number 1 spot. Just because that one's a very special movie. I love that man to this day. Never rub another man's rhubarb.
He is by far the best, both Bat and Bruce Wayne, in my opinion. But yeah.
So then after that, I got to put Dark Knight, because Dark Knight is just crazy. So with the Batman coming out, the new ranking, it used to be Batman Returns. It's been bumped down to 4. The Batman stays at number 3 for me.
Stays at number 3. So you got the 3 up there with Batman, The Dark Knight, and then the Batman. Okay. Batman and Robin number 1 for Nike.
Oh my God, get out of here.
Whatever. Okay. I going back and watching the Nolan trilogy so many times, and like it's one of those things. If I see it on TV, I'll sit down and watch them, like any of the movies. I realized how much better the performances were, or even how significant the villains were than Batman in that trilogy. When I think of Batman Begins, I think of freaking Liam Neeson as Ra's al Ghul. When I think of The Dark Knight, Heath Ledger, the Joker. When I think of Dark Knight Rises, freaking Tom Hardy as Bane. And I'm just thinking, if you took those characters out, as Christian Bale's Batman alone, I don't think those movies carry as much weight without those villains. Whereas I think with the Batman 89 one, Batman Returns, definitely Masters of Phantasm, and this version, the Batman, you could take Riddler out. And if it's just like the mob bosses and stuff, this is still like a crazy good movie. And so like that's something I've been talking with my friends lately. Just like, yo, those movies aren't that good without the villains. That's like one of the only Batman movies where that's the case. The villains are the movies. And so I had Dark Knight up there as like 1 or 2, just because of Heath Ledger's performance. But I'm looking at it overall as a Batman film. And I think this is my definitive one right now. If we added the theatrical releases, Massive Phantasm is still number 1 in my opinion. But if we're going live action, the Batman, Robert Pattinson, Matt Reeves' version is number 1, the best Batman movie. I think Christopher Nolan's trilogy might be a better movie or cinematic movie overall, but like the cinematography with this one is like nothing I've seen before. I mean, the feel, the tone, every aspect. There's some weak spots in a lot of those Christian Bale movies that I noticed. And so like everybody talks about the Joker in The Dark Knight. Nobody really talks about Batman. The Dark Knight's 2. The Batman's 1. Batman's 1. And then 3, I would have to go with 89 Batman. I would have to go with 89 Batman. Well, I love Batman Returns, though. I love Batman Returns, but I got to go with Batman 1, 1989, Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson, because Jack Nicholson kills it as a Joker.
It's iconic. He
kills it. Yeah, he kills it. So just overall, those are my top 3. Those are my top 3 right now. Yep.
There you go. And I would say like a respectful nod to Begins as well, because for those trilogies, for that trilogy, that is a good Batman movie for sure. Like him, like Christian Bale as Batman, having the Ra's al Ghul in there is great. But I feel like it was a decent Batman flick. I thought it worked. It worked out there, and like and then of course you got your campy ones, you got your George Clooney's, you got your I'll Get Drive Through with Val Kilmer, you got all that other stuff. But yeah, I think that's the quintessential top 3. So we got basically the same top 3, but a little scrambled.
Yeah, just a little bit moved around. Yeah, for sure. We got the same ones. And like, honestly, I love Batman Forever. Like, it's campy, it's fun, but I liked Val Kilmer's Bruce Wayne a lot. So I wish we got a solo Ben Affleck movie, because a lot of people don't know this movie, The Batman, was supposed to be Batfleck's solo film. He was going to help write and direct and star, and it was called The Batman. And it ended up being this film. And he was actually helping Matt Reeves on it before it got out, with all the behind the scenes stuff that was going on with his alcohol abuse, Ben Affleck wise, and everything else. But this movie originally was talked about back in 2016, 2017, and got cast like 2018. I think the announcement was made, maybe even before that. But this was supposed to be Batfleck's solo movie. And so I wish we kind of got a version, because we only got BVS and then Justice League. So if we had saw a solo film with him, I think he'd be right up there in my book, honestly.
Yeah, like we talked about, like that suit is great. It's like the Dark Knight Returns suit. Like it looks just like it.
It's perfect.
And like, and I really want to see an older Batman. I think we are getting it in the Flashpoint movie.
Yeah. But I hope we get a closure there. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So, but it's like, oh, come on, man. It's like, maybe we'll get Robert Pattinson when he's old as Batman. Like, a man can dream.
Or Michael Keaton as an old Batman with Batman Beyond movie or something, maybe. I don't know.
That's what they should be doing. I don't know why they're not doing that.
They say they're using them for Flash and then the Batgirl. And I'm like, yo, have him come back as old Bruce Wayne with his dog and bring in Terry McGinnis and let's get a Batman Beyond movie, man. Like,
I mean, they did it in the CW with the Flash and Arrow. The
Arrowverse, yeah.
And they had Kevin Conroy come out as old Bruce Wayne, which is a cool little touch.
That was cool.
It's like, all right. Cool. It's like, I see you guys. So that was cool. So we get our fixes, where we least expect it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's there. Because I thought that the DC shows were always fun. Like I did follow Flash for a while, then I was kind of like, when the Flashpoint stuff started getting a little too wild, I was like, all right, it's slowed down, and like we'll come back to this eventually.
Yeah, for sure.
But man, that's gonna wrap it up, man. That was the official Friggin Nerds review for the Batman. We finally got to do it. This was fantastic. We'll never be able to do this ever again.
I know.
Oh man, but
this was fun.
This was a lot of fun. I could
seriously keep talking about this.
Oh, we probably will. We'll be talking for months about this movie.
Yes, for sure.
And I gotta go see it again. But guys, without further ado, this has been a special edition of the Friggin Nerds Podcast. As you guys may be aware, Mike and Britt and Lee were here today. They will be back next week. Episode 40 is coming up, guys. 40. And we're coming up on the year anniversary of Friggin Nerds starting, so it's going to be a fun few weeks coming up. We're going to have a lot of fun stuff coming out for you guys. So if you guys want to stay locked and loaded, you can join us here every Tuesday at twitch.tv/Friggin Nerds Media for the live shows. If you guys can't make it, we post the show every Thursday on Spotify, Google, wherever you get your podcasts. This will probably go up on YouTube as well for our review folder on there. So hit us up on all the social medias, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff to stay locked and loaded for when we go live. I believe this Saturday we're coming back with D&D. I'm so confused because I know we took so many weeks off.
I know this has been changing. I don't think it's this weekend anymore.
I think it's the following weekend. I think.
I think it's the 26th. Because there's because Mike and Britt are going out of town. For spring break, and then the 19th, I think Brita is celebrating their anniversary.
That's what.
So then the 26th is when we'll be back for D&D, but we'll have some stuff going on. Watch parties and a lot of stuff coming up. Moon Knight's coming up. probably going to try and revisit WandaVision on Wednesdays, and maybe do some movie nights on Fridays for like the Fantastic Beasts stuff that's leading next month. So be sure to also check out the Friggin Nerds Media Discord and Facebook groups, where you get updated on all of that coming up in the next couple of weeks between shows, for sure.
Yes. But without further ado, guys, it's gonna be weird to do the sign off. It's only the two of us.
Oh yeah.
So I've been Friggin Nerd Mario.
I'm Friggin Nerd James.
And you guys it's a lot easier, actually. It's way easier. You guys have been friggin' awesome. And as always, stay friggin' nerdy.